Well, hey, good day to you. This is Todd. I am a regular dude walking in the Word. Hey, we are in Philippians right now, and we're starting chapter 4 today. In case you didn't know this, Philippians only has 4 chapters, so we are starting chapter 4 today. But let me warn you, there's a lot of good stuff in chapter 4, just like the rest of Philippians also, but a lot of good stuff. So it's going to take us a little while to get through this one chapter. In fact, the next 3 days we are going to focus on verse 1 of chapter 4. And it's going to be entitled 3 Descriptions of Fellow Believers. Paul, when he's writing this, he says, I'll read it here. He says, "Therefore, my brothers and sisters, you whom I love and long for, my joy and crown, stand firm in the Lord in this way, dear friends." Okay, so Paul is addressing his brothers and sisters in Christ. Okay, that's, in case you didn't know this, it's your fellow believers. Okay, the people you're going to church with, the people that go to the church next door to you, all the the other believers in Christ in your community, in your city, they're all part of this. Okay, so Paul he's describing he's saying this about the fellow believers here. Okay, so the first one description is whom I love and long for, okay, which we talk about today. And then the second one tomorrow will be my joy and crown, okay, and then the last one will be stand firm. Okay, so today let's focus on whom I love and long for. Okay, Paul is writing this, and he's in prison, okay, just like we are here, and he's writing this to the Philippian church, okay, and when he's writing it to the Philippian church, he says here, you fellow believers, whom I love and long for. It wasn't like you guys that I can hardly stand to be around, but it was these are people that I love, okay, and he says this, you are the people who I love. Okay, and not only that, but those that I long for. Okay, you've had people that come into your life and they've moved out of state or whatever, and you're like, oh man, I sure wish they were around. I long to be with them, just to fellowship with them, and you might have been good friends and talked a lot together, and you go, let's say they were your next door neighbors, and you go next door and they're not there anymore. Okay, and you're like, oh man, I long to be with those people because they moved out of state or they might have passed away or whatever, but I long to be with them. And this is what Paul is saying. He's saying, I love you guys, and I long to be with you too. So it's not just a formality of, oh yeah, let's love everybody, but it's a deep love for that person, so much that you desire to be with that person. Okay, I don't desire to be with people unless I love them. Okay, if you're just an acquaintance, I'll hang out with you and stuff, but I don't desire to be with you. But if I do have love for that person, then I desire to be with them. All right, just like you have your wife. Okay, you desire to be with your wife. All right, if you don't desire to be with your wife, well then something's not right in your relationship. But you desire to be with your wife. A marriage is not, oh, you're over here and I'm over here and maybe we'll get together once a year or something like that. No, it's like you long to be with your wife. So Paul is writing this to the believers, but I want you to focus today on, are you able to say that to other believers around you, to the people let's start with just in your church, the people in your church that, hey, I love you. And then the second thing is I long to be with you. Okay, so that might mean like when you miss a Sunday of church, you're like, oh, I missed a Sunday church. You are upset about that because you desire to be with those people. All right, not being legalistic about it, but you're like, oh, I wish I could have gone to church today because I long to be with those people and fellowship with those people. So, or your small group that you have of fellow believers, do you long to be with them? All right. So if it's not if you don't love those people, and if it's something that you don't long to be with them, that's an area that we need to work on. Okay. So that's the first thing of a description of a fellow believer here. Join me tomorrow as we continue on looking at chapter 4 of Philippians here, and we'll talk about the second and third thing. All right. Lord's blessing. I'll see you tomorrow.